You love your garden. You clean it, trim it, organize it, and manage it. You look out at the stillness, the tidy rows of flowers, and the manicured paths, and you feel a sense of accomplishment. You think you are protecting it, but what you are about to learn might shatter that illusion. While you see a beautiful, serene space, you aren't seeing what it really is. Your garden is not just a collection of plants. It is a vital, bustling hub of a secret society. Every time you tidy up, you are, without knowing it, interrupting a critical dialogue. You are, quite literally, erasing the secret messages your hedgehogs leave behind. Imagine a network of thousands of invisible post-it notes layered across every surface of your garden. Some are pinned to grass blades, others are rubbed onto the garden fence, and many are written directly onto the soil. This is the reality of your garden for a hedgehog. While you are sleeping, your yard is a social platform, an open forum where a complex social hierarchy is being continuously mapped. Every visiting hedgehog leaves a detailed chemical report, their identity, health status, stress level, and even how recently they found a food source. And when you come out the next morning, intent on maintaining your garden, you are unknowingly deleting all of it. This hidden truth changes everything. Most people view hedgehogs as quiet, solitary wanderers that occasionally meet, perhaps for breeding, but that is an incomplete picture. They are socially sophisticated, highly territorial, and they coordinate their movements through a language of chemistry that is millions of years old. When a hedgehog stands perfectly still in your garden, it isn't just looking around. It is engaging in a complex social dialogue. It is determining who was there, how long ago, and whether it is safe to proceed. It is, quite literally, checking the mail left on the bulletin board that is your yard. And you, in your pursuit of cleanliness, are wiping it clean. But how are you doing it? The answer is heartbreakingly simple. You aren't doing it with intention. You are doing it with water, with chemical cleaners, and even just by rearranging your garden furniture. That path you scrubbed down, you deleted a crucial social landmark. That log you moved from the shade to the sun, you altered a scent signature that was being used to map territory. You aren't just changing the decor, you are breaking the communication contract that this secret society relies on to live in a shared space without conflict. This brings us to a crucial mystery. How much does this constant sensory breach by humans affect hedgehog survival? When you erase their messages, you force them back into a dangerous state of uncertainty. If they enter your garden and find it socially silent, devoid of the messages that should guide them, their anxiety spikes. Their cortisol levels increase. This causes them to change their routes, take unnecessary risks, and in the worst cases, abandon the garden entirely. You meant well, but in your desire to control the space, you made it unreadable and therefore unsafe. In the next part, we will descend into the deepest layer of this story, the physical mechanism of this hidden ink, the exact anatomy that decodes the conversation, and the surprising way a messy garden corner actually protects this sacred silent dialogue. But before we go, I want you to look at your garden differently. Try to see it, just for a moment, not as something to be managed, but as a shared space where a conversation you can neither hear nor smell is constantly unfolding. When you've seen the stillness, are you now seeing the secret? If this perspective shift made you reconsider the purpose of your yard, I read all the comments, and your shared observations are what drive this channel forward. If you are starting to see the world as these animals do, please like this video and subscribe. It helps us keep uncovering the truths hidden in the dark. And now, let's look at the actual code you are erasing. To truly see what you are erasing, we must understand the chemical alphabet. A hedgehog's writing tools are complex scent glands primarily found on its flank and around the tail. These are not simple mechanisms. The secretions they produce are biochemically complex. They contain a specific pheromonal profile that functions as a biometric ID, an emotional report card, and a health status update all in one. This is the ink of the garden bulletin board. Every time a hedgehog brushes past a rock or marks a specific patch of dirt, it is leaving a detailed, multi-layered data packet that persists in the environment long after the physical creature has vanished. This system creates a continuous social narrative that exists in a dimension of time you cannot perceive. The message left by the hedgehog at midnight is still being heard by the one arriving at 3 a.m. This is why you rarely see them together. They don't need direct interaction. This delayed dialogue minimizes the risk of injury while maximizing the information flow. It is a highly efficient way to manage social hierarchy without conflict. But all of this relies entirely on behavioral consistency, on the fact that the message is readable and that the landmark it is attached to doesn't change. Enter the human variable. Every time you hose down a dusty path, move a heavy garden ornament to a new location, or use a strongly aromatic cleaner on your patio tiles, you are performing a sensory deletion. You aren't just cleaning, you are scrubbing the archives, you are wiping away the street signs and territory markers that these animals depend on to navigate your yard safely. Imagine waking up to find that every street sign, house number, and note on your phone had been instantly erased. You would be lost, would you not? That is the exact disorientation of a hedgehog entering a freshly cleaned garden, and it leads back to that central question. Why does the hedgehog suddenly stop visiting? The answer, now clear, is that your garden stopped being readable. It became a void, a socially dead space, where it could no longer tell if it was alone or if it was trespassing. Why do some dominant hedgehogs try to overwrite these erased messages, while others simply choose to leave? This is a developing scientific mystery. The dominant hedgehogs seem to double down, putting more effort into marking. But for the majority, the uncertainty created by human intervention becomes too high a risk to stay. This is where we must address the ultimate concept, the hidden signal that makes them abandon your yard forever. When you destroy these archives, you force them into increased social competition. They are forced to meet face-to-face to determine their place, which results in stress, aggression, and eventually the abandonment of the area. But there is a solution, and it isn't complex. You have a responsibility not to manage, but to coexist, to leave the wild corners undisturbed, to respect that a simple pile of leaves is not a messy yard, but a sacred historical archive for your secret guests. Think about what happens when you introduce artificial feeding into this fragile ecosystem. A feeder becomes a focal point, a hot spot where the scent messages get crowded, overlapping so intensely that they form a deafening, unintelligible sensory noise. This shouting match ruins the subtle dialogue, increases aggression, and can cause them to abandon the area. A feeder, intended to help, actually broke the conversation and caused a crisis of identity. The original story, the careful negotiation of space and time, was overwritten by a loud, confusing noise. And so, we must look at our own gardens through this new lens. We aren't just gardeners. We are the custodians of these invisible archives. We don't need to do more. We need to do less. We need to respect the consistency, the quiet paths, and the undisturbed corners. We must realize that every time we control the environment for our aesthetic pleasure, we might be breaking a sensory contract that took months to build. A hedgehog habits does not form in days. It accumulates weekly, layered with consistency and repeated scent data. And we have the power to destroy it in an instant. As we bring this exploration of deleted stories to a close, think about your own garden at night. Imagine it not as something you own, but as a shared space where a dialogue has been happening for 15 million years. One you are only just learning how to read. You are walking through a library of lives, and you are starting to understand that you have been accidentally hosing down the bookshelves. If the concept of your garden being a secret social network fascinates you, then you are ready to see the world as these animals do. We plan to go even further into this in our next videos, uncovering the exact frequency of their ultrasonic calls, the specific biochemical makeup of their pheromones, and even how our nightly lighting impacts their long-term health. If you are on this journey with us, make sure you are subscribed. I am curious, after hearing this, what do you think is the biggest secret message waiting in your own garden right now? Do you feel differently about your last garden cleanup? Leave a comment below. I want to hear your insights, as they are the key to making this research community work. And as always, if this shed new light on the silent narratives in the shadows, please hit that like button. It is a simple gesture, but it tells the algorithm that there are others who care about the truth, waiting behind the curtain. Until we meet again at the next observation point, stay curious. The night is never silent. It is filled with voices, stories, and histories. You just have to be willing to listen in a language you didn't know existed. The hedgehogs are out there right now, writing their next chapter on your soil. Are you reading it? Or are you just erasing it? The choice and the responsibility is yours. Keep watching, keep observing, and keep listening. The truth is waiting in the dark. Goodbye.